have you again back on our channel. My name is Amara.
And my name is Gospel.
If you're new to our channel, I would want to invite you to join our community. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you know when we put content out. And if you're a returning subscriber, it's always a joy to have you all join us and join this conversation today. Today, we'll be looking at something very interesting.
Yeah, we'll be looking at help. I'm married to a selfish spouse.
Oh.
This is someone's outcry there. Someone is saying, my spouse is selfish and is killing me, is hurting our relationship. So today we'll be looking at selfishness to know how do you identify someone who is selfish. And if you are married to someone who is selfish, how do you deal with it? If you are selfish, how can you turn your life around? Because no one wants to live with
someone
a
who is
selfish
selfish.
spouse.
You know, sometimes there are some concepts like this that we touch on in relationship, and you say, I don't think we should be talking about this in a relationship, because in a relationship, you don't expect that the people in the relationship should be selfish.
But human beings are selfish.
You just took the words from my mouth. I want to say that, we as persons, human beings, we are wired to be selfish. And before you got into a relationship with someone, you were a person. And a lot of times you say, oh, I want this. I feel this. I want to travel here. I want to be treated this way. So that I factor would entail a level of self-preservation. So it's about me, it's about how I'm treated, it's about how I'm feeling. I don't feel good, I feel comfortable. So again, this happens even in relationship.
So what's selfishness? From our own view, selfishness is when an individual always puts his needs or her needs or preferences above others. Like you said, for that person, everything revolves around him or her. Just like a child that is always thinking about what mommy and daddy will do for me. We have a son when he comes back from school, mommy, I want to eat, daddy, I want to eat, mommy, I want this, I want that. You will always say I in the picture because he's a child. So a selfish person is always thinking about him or her.
When we look at it from in a relationship, someone who is considered selfish in a relationship is someone who is always thinking about how he or she can be cared for, can be loved, how the spouse should make him or her happy, do this for me, do this for, it's all about me. It's about me, TLC, tender loving care. Oh, he should focus more on me.
But
it's good. It's good to feel that way.
And that's what I wanted to say, because everyone wants, I want someone that loves me.
Yes, me,
Yeah, but
I think it's being excessive. I think this is the point that we're trying to emphasize here, because there is a point where this becomes really, 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 really excessive, because the whole focus is on me, not on us.
Yeah.
I think this is where the issue or the challenge is.
For instance, you ask someone, who do you want to get married to? Most times people will say to you, I want to get married to someone that will love me, care for me, provide for me, treat me like me, do this for me, take care of me, cook food for me, everything me. You see, when you see those words that refer to I, me, you're seeing signs of selfishness. But the idea of this conversation is to change your mindset to think about, I want to marry someone whom I will love, I will care for, I will take care of, because you're thinking about giving. Love is about giving. Love is about the other person.
Yep.
It's not about you. If it's about you, then it's no longer an act of unconditional love.
I think this is a hard pill to swallow, because someone might be listening out there and saying, you know what, I'm not buying this, because I'm not going into the relationship where anyone can be can't treat me with care, can't give me love. No, that's not what we're saying. It's a given. You go into a relationship, this is a given. But we say that when it becomes excessive, when the focus is so much on me as a person rather than on we as both individuals in the relationship, then this is where it becomes a problem. And I don't see myself wanting to gift back to that individual what I'm expecting from that individual. Then it's also a problem. And I think this is where a lot of unrealistic expectations is set in relationship, where it's all about getting married, having a fairy tale wedding and living happily ever after. And then when the hard stuff in the relationship comes down, you feel like, oh, this is not what I expected. This is not why I got married. This is not what I expected in my husband. This is not what I expected in my in-laws. So it's now you now trying to shift it the other way around and say, oh no, I came in with these expectations and they're not being met. So it's a you problem, not a me problem, because this is what I expected in the relationship. And this is where the problems begin to build up. Let me say here that with the illustrations that I've provided so far, I would want to emphasize here that the toughest individual to love in any relationship over a long period of time is not even someone that doesn't have a great personality. It's someone who is super selfish. It's difficult to love that person. Someone who doesn't have a great personality, I mean, you can find ways of living with that person. But you see someone who is selfish, it's very difficult to love that person. And I think that if we can be more open-minded and more flexible and having an outlook towards our relationship, in the sense that, fine, I want to be loved, I want to be treated, but it's also about how can this other person be loved and this other person be treated. So we look at it from a we perspective and not from an I perspective.
To put it in another way, what that means is that a selfish person is an immature person. Because for you to get to the point of thinking interdependence in marriage, you need to go through the phase of independence. You have to get to a point where you move to a point where you think about, not me now. Independence is where you're mature, you're home, you don't depend on others for things. Now you move to the point where you can give what you have to others. So if you're not mature, it means you don't have what to give. You don't have love to give. You're empty, looking for others to give to you. It is said that at age 20, we worry about what others think of us because our focus is on us. At age 40, we don't care what they think of us, but at age 60, we discover that they haven't been thinking of us at all.
That's true.
Life does not revolve around you. If you're married, life revolves around both of you. Because the marriage is about the two of you. It's about what you work together to achieve, not what you do individually. We have had a lot of conversations around working as a team, intimacy through unity, through synergy. You cannot achieve 100% what you need to achieve as a couple until you get to a point of interdependence, moving away from me, I to us.
For a lot of single persons out there now, they're listening to this and saying, okay, how can I spot someone who is selfish? You know, there are ways you can discover a selfish person. Number one thing is to examine his or her ability to give unto others. When you look at generosity or stinginess, because there are two sides of the coin, okay? One, you know what I'm talking about. So when you look at generosity or stinginess, it can uncover selfishness in a way that you don't even need to think about it. You just know that this person is a selfish person, you know. Generosity does not necessarily it doesn't really need to do with material things only, because a lot of people look at that, oh, he doesn't gift, he doesn't buy, he doesn't take me out, doesn't. So when we're talking about generosity here, we're not just looking at material stuff. It also includes you, your emotions, your time. You know, how much can you gift your time? How much can you actually help somebody? This is, you know what, today, I'm just going to gift you today. Just tell me what you want me to do for you. I want to help you today. You know, you can also tell how much time the person you're in a relationship with right now, how much time do they actually spend with you? I mean, quality time. Okay? That's one way you can find out, if you want to call it the selfish test or the generosity stingy versus stinginess test. I don't know. But that's one way you can find out, how much time can they invest? How much can they inconvenience themselves to make you comfortable?
Yeah.
Because some people say, no way, I'm not doing that. That's an inconvenience. I'm not traveling all the way to come. I know that's an inconvenience. I can't do that. I can't run this errand for you. It's an inconvenience. So most times it's not about our comfort all the time. It's about, you know what, I'm gonna make myself a little bit uncomfortable just to make him uncomfortable. That's because I don't want to be selfish. I just want to make him comfortable today.
In other words, to know who is selfish, think about how much they are willing to put you in their own shoes. How much are they willing to sacrifice for you? How much are they willing to, go out of their way to make life better for you? And then watch their language. What do they say? Is it about me? When we get married, you will do this for me. Once you see the me factor, where their plans, everything they're thinking about revolves around them, then you're spotting a selfish person. But it doesn't also mean that a selfish person cannot change. It could be a function of their background, their mindset. So you might also help them to have everything. I've had people say before they got married, they were all alone doing their own thing, a level of independence. They were not even bringing people into their homes, their life. But getting married opened them up. So if you see those signs that this person may be dealing with selfishness, think about how flexible they are. If there's people who are willing to change, to listen to you, to get advice from you and move on from there, then you have someone who has the capacity to become better. So if you're married to a selfish spouse, what do you do?
Well, before we get to that point,
I
wanted to say something, and I think this is very important because sometimes, as human beings, we naturally judge people, right? Now, someone might have or would have become selfish over time in life because of what they've been through. And they've been through pain, For example, a woman who has been abused sexually, so she's got used to the notion of, look, for me to protect myself from my abusers, I have to look after me. So her decision is not necessarily based on the fact that she wants to be selfish. It's just that the circumstances she's been exposed to over time, she's just been caving in and protecting herself. She's just protecting herself. So I would say, it's important for you to step back before you begin to judge or cast stones. Just chill, step back a bit and find out, what's the background, what's your story, and remember that people will not just easily tell you their story if they don't trust you. So you have to be patient and not just say, you know what, this person is very selfish. Sorry, I'm going to move on to the other relationship. No, you don't treat people like that. You treat people with respect. Because everyone has a story and you don't know what their story might be.
So you need to understand the context of that person's life experience. You should also think about the fact that these people or this person is not going to open up to you because he has had issues, disappointments, he was so open, generous with others, and they took advantage of that. So now the person is very cautious.
They might even have a father who was always working out of the house all the time. So there might be a lot of things.
Complexities of people's life that you need to be patient with them to be sure that you're not judging them without enough information.
That's true.
So if you're married to a selfish spouse, it could be that selfishness is at the heart of most of the issues you're dealing with in your marriage. For instance, selfishness is at the heart of sensual insatisfaction in some marriages, infidelity, financial issues, conflicts. So if I will use sex as an illustration, for you to have a wonderful sexual relationship with your spouse, you have to be selfless. You have to see it as you helping to meet her need and she helping to meet your needs. Especially for men, if you're selfish in this act, you would have issues because focus on yourself before you say, Jack, you're done. But if you focus on your wife, that helps you to enjoy the process
and maximize, the benefit of the end.
Exactly. So
there's something like that.
Exactly.
Yep.
So selfishness is really, really an important element that must be dealt with.
That's true. Let me add that, in relationship, in marriage, there has been a level or high level of correlation found with high marital quality and generosity. So when you look at the correlation between the two, they say, you know what? Learning to be generous is one of the ways you can deal with selfishness in marriage, because they're all interconnected. So until we begin to experience, that paradigm shifts away from selfishness in our marriage and begin to focus on what we will offer. What will I give my spouse? How will I make him happy? What makes him think? Those kind of things. And let's focus on what we will get. We would definitely struggle in our relationship. So if you don't focus on that, then it will be a struggle, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. So marriage is successful when it is based on unconditional giving. You just give. You just give. You just give. Both the husband and the wife. If both of you are focused on this, trust me, it will be blissful. It will be heaven on earth. And I think that this is how marriage should be.
Exactly. And unfortunately, some people measure the success of their marriage based on personal happiness rather than how they've been able to provide the best environment for their spouse to be happy. So rather than thinking, I want to be happy, think of, we want to be happy. The point is that marriage is an institution for people who have decided to let go or give up the I factor, the me factor, and embrace the we, the us factor. You move from the independent to interdependence. It's no longer about you. It's no longer about you. It's no longer about me.
It's about us. Yes, it's about
that is what
us.
marriage
is. That's
true.
And
when we walk with that mindset, we'll have the best relationship, achieve the best that we can, and individually we maximize our potentials.
Let me also add that you can give without loving, but you cannot love without giving. Giving is an intrinsic part of you loving someone. Because you love someone, you just want to show. You just want to give to them to say, look, I appreciate you. I love you so much. You mean more to me than 1,000 men or whatever it is out there. You're the best thing that's happened to me. You're my Prince Charming. Whatever it is you want to tell, I don't know the words you use. Think of something special you can do for your spouse that signifies sacrificial giving.
Yeah.
Just think. Because every spouse is different. So just think about it and then go all the way out and do it for them. I'm not saying break an arm or a leg, because sometimes people think about the very expensive stuff. It might not even be something really expensive. It might just be like normal things that you've missed out just in the course of your relationship. So you will be amazed at the response that you get from your partner, from your spouse, and the effect of what you're doing consistently for that spouse in that marriage. You'll be amazed.
Very, very important. For one, stop focusing on yourself. Focus on your spouse. And this giving you're talking about may not be material thing. Could be give quality time to your spouse.
Yeah.
Give your heart to your spouse. There are things you've been keeping to yourself and he or she wants to access your heart.
Difficult.
Give up thinking about you. Start thinking about the well-being and the benefit of your spouse. Your marriage will be better for it. So if you're married to a selfish spouse, today is an opportunity for you to have a conversation with your spouse and think of how you can use your example to motivate your spouse to start thinking of being a selfless person.
I hope what we've shared has been of immense value to you. Please do tell us in the comment section below how anyone can deal with someone who is difficult. Maybe you've been that selfish person in that relationship, or maybe your spouse has been that selfish one in that relationship. How were you able to deal with it? How were you able to navigate, that period of being selfish and now you're selfless, do share with us in the comment section below. And if you have a question, also let us know in the comment section below, and then we would respond to those. Now, if you're new to our channel, I hope you enjoyed this content, and please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. It would be great to have you join us. And for all our returning subscribers, it's always a joy to have you back. On to the next episode. It's goodbye.